License to Kill. I can't wait to get that one.
Your favorite moody YouTubers here. I am going to tell you right away that I've got some issues when it comes to this adaptation, not because of the adaptation being bad as much as I just don't understand what's going on with the creators right now, and I guess what was going on with them the entire time. I will address all of that at the end of the video. Don't worry about it. I just want us to talk about the costuming, and I'm gonna be praising a lot of things on whatever, and then we'll talk about the shit that's bothering me, because I know for a fact that after talking about it, I will not be able to just switch back to talking about costuming. So we're gonna do it the other way around. The Hunger Games released a prequel about President Snow when he was young, and
That's why big girls making money. That's why you're number one fan now.
like his descent, I guess, into craziness. I'm gonna be honest with you. First and foremost, to all of you who watched the movie but you haven't read the books, I'm gonna tell you right away that in the movie it definitely feels like it is a very sudden change in terms of like how he switches. By the way, there's gonna be spoilers, just saying. In the book, in my opinion, he's been low-key crazy the entire time, okay? There's so much discourse going on about like so many people getting pissed off at people who are, you know, into Snow now or whatever because they made him hot. And it's kind of like, okay, well, first of all, he was supposed to be. It's kind of part of it that everyone allowed him to do whatever the fuck just because he was hot, you know? Okay, maybe not just because, but it's definitely not harming him in any way. It's actually aiding him into doing whatever the hell he wants to do. That's kind of the point, I think. Or at least if it's not the point, it's just something that is actually written in the book. Also, yeah, okay, they made him hot. So what? You can still hate him. You can still hate him. Like, it's okay. Like, it's not like it's not morally incorrect to hate people who look good.
It happened again.
Go ahead. Another thing, I myself think that in the movie, the fact that you don't really see it coming and the fact that he comes off a lot better than in the books is all due to the fact that we only see his outward behavior, what he actually does physically. And what he does physically is not in any way bad until the Sejanus situation with the Mockingjay and whatever. Until then, he comes off really well in terms of his human behavior on the outside. You cannot blame either Lucy Gray or Sejanus or Tigress. You can't really blame them for liking him because it doesn't really work. The entire personality that he has that's kind of like on the outside, it makes him look really good. It does. For example, we know that when Sejanus brought a bunch of sandwiches to the tributes, Corio's little ass, Coriolanus, is thinking, is this guy trying to one-up me? He's trying to, I don't know, feed the tributes who are not being fed by anybody. The amount of moments in this goddamn movie where I was like, oh, he looks cute or whatever. And then I would remember what he was thinking at the time in the book. And I would be like, oh, lordy lord. I have a physical reaction to people who technically are attractive, but then there's like bad qualities about them as human beings. I have an urge to puke. Like just a little bit of an urge. Like it's a physical reaction. My body is like, ew, okay. Anyway. Oh, by the way, Coriolanus is such a Daffy Duck in his head from 2012 adaptation of Looney Tunes. I will make a little compilation right now for you. For all of you fans, you will understand all the references and it's going to be funny for you because as soon as I kind of made that connection, I was like, I cannot hear anything else but Corio whenever Daffy Duck is speaking and other way around. It's fucking crazy.
License to Kill. I can't wait to get that one. I was wondering if by any chance you're not doing anything tonight, which you probably are because you're not ugly. But if for some reason you're not, what do you want to know? I'm rich, very rich, but a do-gooder. I help poor people, orphans, whales.
Whoever forgive me! I don't know what I would do if I ever lost you!
I mean, I'm sure I date again. The skirt draws the eye to my trim waistline and away from my generous hip area. Michael? Who's Michael? Who's Michael?
Michael's my brother. You met him?
Oh, right. Let's see what we've got here. No obvious athletes, none of you attractive.
Good morning, Mr. Doc. Good morning, Mr. Doc.
Good morning, Mr. Doc.
Hold my calls, Carol. What happened to this country? No one hustles anymore. That's why Canada's killing us these days. I knew it! I knew you were lying to me! I thought you were my girlfriend.
I let myself be vulnerable with you. I trusted you.
Well, not anymore. Do you hear that? That's the sound of my walls going back up. Lose my number. Under my roof, you'll watch your tone. That's Ivory.
Well, where am I supposed to put it?
Why don't you put it back on and make us dinner? And try not ruining it like you did breakfast. I'm sorry you had to see that, Giuseppe. And you wouldn't have if you'd have been working.
You've got to do something special. Something heroic.
Destroy the Earth!
Climb Mount Everest?
Can't climb Mount Everest because I don't have a winter jacket. Shame.
Pathetic. Playing all by yourself. Get some friends, kid.
Sometimes you gotta treat people wrong to treat yourself right. Pretty good status update, huh? Oh, yeah. I'm gonna get a lot of likes on this one. Spring break?
We get a week off from school.
You're never in school. How do you learn anything? No wonder Canada's killing us these days. Jealousy or hatred. It's like having to choose one child over the other. Hatred. Surprisingly easy choice. I can take care of a baby. I used to be a baby. So what's up, man?
So we're gonna start with, first of all, the head of costuming department, Trish Somerville. Turns out she actually worked on Lady Marmalade. Low-key iconic. Yeah. There are so many things that worked for me. That's why the end of the video is gonna be annoying to me. For me. There's so many things that I love about this. Like the uniform. Oh, the uniform is to die for. Girl, are you fucking kidding me? Like, it looks so good. I absolutely love this skirt over the pants. And it's like so elegant. It just has it. It just does. I don't know what to tell you. The satchel. Yeah. Like the whole thing just hits. It does. It does. The red color here, absolutely fantastic. Immediately, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, this is gonna be goddamn iconic. And it so is. There's literally costumes being sold already of it. How the movie came out like what, I don't know, 4 days ago, some shit like that, maybe a week ago, I don't know. That's quick. I mean, I guess they just kind of guessed that by the look of it, this is going to be the standout outfit, the same as Lucy Gray's dress, the rainbow dress. By the way, the rainbow dress in the book, it was literally described as a dress with a bunch of rainbow colors on the skirt or whatever. And I remember thinking about it being like, that's practically impossible to make it look good instead of Target's June collection type of bad. You know what I mean? Whenever someone brings in rainbow as a color for an outfit, it's just going to be difficult. I don't know what to tell you. It's just going to be. They did a really good job with it because it has a little bit of this fading to the fabric, which I assume is to kind of match the fact that this is not a new dress, you know. I think it belonged to her mother. I really love the bodice, the fact that it has primrose and Katniss on it and snakes. Fantastic. That's all great. Honestly, whenever there's thought and time put into the costuming, it's always nice to actually watch it. It's always nice to notice what's going on the screen and just kind of feel like it's been done well. It doesn't feel like it was just kind of thrown together. Also, aging and kind of just giving a garment a look of being worn in is very difficult without making it look horrible at the same time. It's a very fine line, a rare skill that someone can do it really well on a big scale of, you know, a movie like this where you have to make so many copies of this. I heard they made 8 or 10 of the rainbow dresses for Lucy Gray, which makes a lot of sense since she was doing a lot of physical acting in that dress. And I don't know, it's like maybe half of the movie she spends in that outfit. So definitely an important one that you cannot underestimate how many copies you're going to need for the production, because it would slow the production down so much if they went through 2 or 3 dresses and all of a sudden they were out and they wouldn't know what to do, really. Because the thing is, I mean, you can patch it up, obviously, but there is a certain level of distress that you also need to keep. It's a headache. Honestly, costuming for movies that involves so much movement and so much griming up of the outfit, and it the continuity is the most annoying part of it all, because I don't know if you're familiar, but there's always like a person who deals with continuity of the script or of the outfits and whatever on big productions, or even on small productions if you were lucky enough to afford one. But it's so important because you can't have like a big stain on the dress, for example, on the right side of the dress, and then the next dress that you use that's a copy of the previous one because the other one was ripped or something has it in a bit of a different spot or something. People are gonna notice. Unfortunately, people are just paying attention to every little fucking thing, and it becomes like a really big headache, honestly. But clearly they did a good job on that. I specifically really like that Lucy Gray just has something a bit more festive about her, even though all of her outfits feel very organic and natural, and the color of them, even when she wears something colorful, it still feels very organic, mostly because of the tones that they use, and earth tones and stuff like that. It just kind of makes sense for her character, because to me, she kind of represents nature in many ways, while Koryo represents the human need really wanting to control nature. It makes a lot more sense that their outfits kind of at odds with each other in that sense too. It's just a lot of embroidery, even though she's wearing technically things that some other people in the district have. Hers are a little bit brighter and whatever. Obviously it was done on purpose, but at the same time it does make sense that someone who is a performer, who makes money with performance, would have brighter outfits on hand. I actually think that Lucy Gray is a very interesting character, and I find it really weird, maybe not weird, but it's really surprising to me how a lot of people have such polarizing opinions about her. Some people genuinely make edits. I saw them on TikTok. Okay, I see you guys being like, she betrayed him. I'm sorry. Once again, spoilers. The boy, there were some people who were like, he came out of the shed or whatever the fuck that was, and he said, Lucy Gray, let's talk about it. If I did something wrong, if something happened, let's talk about it. He wanted to talk with a rifle in his goddamn hands. With a rifle, girl. Okay, let's talk. Give me a rifle as well, and we'll talk. We'll chat. It's gonna be a great chat. But I'm not talking to you without a gun. Genuinely, when people were saying that, I was like, no, she's smart that she left when she left. She saw how happy he was to find the gun, even though he said that he already decided to leave. With Mayfair and whatever the fuck his name is, Billy Taupe, and that third guy, we know that he also was killed. He was captured and killed. We know that just simple math would tell us that Sejanus was caught. How exactly? If Koryo is still free, but Sejanus got executed, and everybody else in that room who knew about their plan is dead, who told on Sejanus, right? Yeah. I think that she probably can do simple math, being like, oh, the blondie did it. Of course she ran away as soon as she realized that. Not just the fact that he did it. I think that what really made her think that she needs to run is the fact that he lied about the third person. He said, 3's enough for me. 3's enough for me to kill. Like, I'm done. Who knew that he wasn't done? And she was like, who's the third one? Like, I know about the 2. Who's the third one, bitch? Like, and he genuinely pulled the old me. I killed the old me to come with you, babe. He pulled that shit out. Sometimes I wonder how stupid everyone at the Capitol was that this boy still made it to the top, because how dumb do you have to be to go with that excuse? Like, he could have just said the truth in the sense of just saying to Janus, right? And she would be like, how so, bitch? Like, did you do something? And he could have been like, I didn't protect him enough. I didn't tell him to not do this. Could have done that, but no. So it was very smart of her to run away. Good job, girl. I personally am of an opinion that she ran away and that she's fine. You can think that he actually shot her. I think that she ran away, and I'm gonna stick with that. Thank you very much.
I'm already editing, I forgot to say. What kind of problem do people have with Rachel Zegler? I've seen that interview about Snow White or whatever. Who cares? What's the big deal? Why are you guys so pissy and annoying? Since so many stupid, annoying ass incels are hating on her, I am literally adopting her and I'm gonna protect her with my own life. Don't want to hear shit about her, okay?
the way that he snapped so fast, that must be some sort of record. 5 seconds of her just like, I'm gonna go dig up some Katniss, and he's like, 5 seconds passes. The boy is literally with a rifle shooting the birds in the forest, losing his shit. All the things about him were just, it's so crazy. I think that it actually is a good supplemental thing, the movie, to the book, to experience how Koryo actually came off to everybody else. Because in the book, you can actually feel this, like the, ew, okay, what the fuck was that? You know, whenever he thinks something fucked up, but in the movie you can't. So I think that is actually perfect because it does underline how much he was actually portraying himself to be a friend, a brother. So his outfit here, he's gotten this shirt that Tigress makes for him, and she makes the buttons out of like the tiles in the bathroom. And I love that they actually included that in the set design, that they did put the tiles that match it in the background, and that's absolutely fantastic. But it's also like, it's just, again, the things that he thinks in the movie, you're like, oh, she like helped him with the shirt and he's like grateful, whatever. In the book, you're like, he knows that Tigra's been doing something to, you know, make sure that they don't die, don't starve. She was, you know, maybe participating in the SW, right? And the boy is like, oh, actually, I don't want to even think about that, which is like fair in a sense. But at the same time, he's like judgy about it. And I'm like, okay, you know what, Koryo? You know what? Koryo, Blainus, go do it yourself then. If you think, because he also thought, this is the crazy part. He was like, well, actually, I don't even need to be worried because she's not even pretty enough for that to be the case. Crazy. That's not how it works. First of all. Second of all, crazy thing to think about somebody who is that good to you, who is literally the closest person you have. Okay, you know what? Since everybody thinks you're a pretty boy, go and do what needs to be done for the family yourself. Actually, if you think it's like, it's just not a big deal because you forced a bunch of children to do it afterwards, maybe do it yourself. Why not? Right? That actually pisses me off the most, and we're gonna get to it. Honestly, we need to get through this anyway. So this shirt did make me forget for a moment who the real enemy is. I'm not gonna lie to you, like that was crazy, because I haven't seen a shirt, and whatever the fuck it is, tailored so well in a hot minute. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That's why big girls making money. That's why you're number one fan now.
Even when we look at the Met Gala or whatever it is, places where men show up dressed, where they're supposed to be dressed well by people who are, you know, the professionals in the industry, I haven't seen a shirt with a little sleeveless number jacket on top that looked this good in a hot minute. I had to like take a minute and be like, oh wow, okay, I forgot men can look good when they're dressed well. This is crazy. That was a good look. And the job was done very well. They really said, let me tailor this shit out of this shirt to the point where you will forget who the real enemy is for a second there. It's organza fabric and it has black pinstripe. They made the buttons themselves to actually fit the tile connection from the book. This is what kind of treatment all of us dream of when it comes to IPs that we like being adapted to movies. We just want a little care, babe. Just a little care when it counts. And it counts in this moment because it shows so much of talented tigresses, how she can pull this together even when they are so dirt poor. And speaking of poor, Koryo is really funny sometimes. He is. When you're in his head, he's a funny little bitch. He is. The kitchen was filled with the smell of cabbage, the smell of poverty. You were such a little bitch, but like he's entertaining. I'll give him that. From time to time. Sometimes it's like, okay, you're getting on my nerves. We also got this look when he is in District 12 and he's like a soldier or whatever. This look with the dog tag and like the buzz cut. Yeah. That was good. I can't tell you anything. I can't tell you a thing. Actually, you know what? I can't. I think it is great, genuinely amazing work whenever we get a costuming department that knows that not only do you have to make something that works for the story and that works for the character, but something that fits the actor themselves really well. Because sometimes the descriptions in the book, like the shape of the dress, for example, that they're describing, it it fits the character and, obviously, but then when you actually work with an actor, they have a different body type, for example, and that dress would look kind of weird on them. It wouldn't flatter them, and I love when designers and stylists can really keep up with that change and adjust the look to still give the same effect while at the same time working really well for the actor. Because the thing is, it's kind of like your job to either make them look good or bad depending on what they're supposed to look like in the story. And he is supposed to look good in all of these outfits because people continuously keep on like mentioning that he's good looking and whatever, right? So you kind of have to, you can't just dress the actor in a way that would make him look kind of frumpy. Like, you gotta hit it right. They did. Honestly, they did. What am I supposed to tell you? That look, the blue outfit, which is like kind of their weekend uniform. I have said in my podcast when I mentioned this whole Hunger Games situation that I'm not a fan of men in uniforms. I did not care for their like the gray suits or whatever. Like, fuck them, honestly. But the blue ones, yeah, that was cute as hell. The belt, yeah, that was a good idea. Because otherwise it would look like Scrubs if you wouldn't actually do it correctly, right? So you have to like either give it a belt or whatever. It looked so good. Once again, it's so hard because sometimes you like forget how much of a dickhead he is. That scene where Lucy Gray sees him at the bar and he like punches Billy Taupe a couple of times and then they run out with Sejanus and he's like so normal, like he just kind of like he laughs in such a natural way and everything. You just sitting there like, god damn, what happened to you, boy? Like, just how?
Oh, by the way, my take is Choreo actually loved Lucy Gray, but I personally think that his character is just so shit that even though he did love her, his love is just like he would never be of good quality, regardless of whether he was loving at 100% or 50% or not at all. Quality of love would still be selfish and possessive and weird. So I personally am team he did love her, same as with Lucy Gray. It's just Lucy Gray is smart and got out when she did. Choreo, his love is just shitty. Like, he did love her, but he's also the one who was like, damn, I miss when she was in the fucking cage, because I knew exactly where she was 24/7 and I didn't have to be jealous. Yeah. Anyway.
Because the thing is, he's a lot more interesting in terms of being a villain than someone like Dr. Gall, who is just clinically insane. Like, the girl is not okay. She clearly isn't. Something seeped into her brain folds and poisoned it to the point where she cannot stop torturing things and just getting off on it, But this dude, like, he could have, that's the most frustrating thing about him, is that he could have chosen better time and time again and he didn't. Lucy Gray also looks great. Her dress when they have their kiss under the tree, I just love that they had so many influences from traditional garments. I don't know which garments they were using. This reminds me a little bit of some patterns that I've seen on some Mexican clothing. I don't know for sure, I can't tell you. Just suits her so well in her character, and the fact that she is not really seeing herself as either a district person or a capital person, and I just love that decision. That was really great. We also get a lot of great looks for Tigress, and it's hard to get a screenshot of her like entire look where you can see well, because there is a look where she's going up the stairs with Choreo, but you can't really see the outfit well, so I'm gonna show it on this sketch. First of all, I love that you can see the future of Capital in Tigress's outfits. The Dr. Gall also has something about her that's very much 74th Hunger Games Capital, you know what I mean? And I think that this is kind of a way, at least that's the way I'm reading it, to suggest that Tigress is going to be the one who's going to shape the tastes of the capital in the future when it comes to fashion. A lot of her looks, even though they're not as bright and screaming in color, the silhouette, this 40s or this Dior in the 50s look, the tailoring of suits that she's wearing and stuff like that, just really screams those influences in the capital that we were familiar with before. And I think I've mentioned that before in my previous Hunger Games video. Another thing that I enjoyed about those outfits is not just that they are very interesting, but the fact that you can tell looking at it up close, there's some seams that are kind of a little bit rougher on the edges. It's kind of like, when you love to wear something and it starts to slightly get worn out, but you still do a lot to keep it in a good shape. And even though it's wearing out, there's just a lot of care put into keeping it together. It's not like wearing out in the sense of just there being a hole or something, but more of like I tried to re-sew it together. Basically, it just looks like a very well loved piece that she's wearing, and I just really like those types of little clues to see that the text that is being adapted, it was actually read and adapted properly, right? I really loved her look. Some of her silhouettes, like for example with, you know, her gown and everything, it reminds me of obviously the 30s, and she wears a lot of this powdery peachy pink colors, which are really interesting because they kind of make her into this one statuette, because there's a lot of similar colors, just different values of the same color, just some lighter darker shades of the same peach. I just really like the way that they went about it, and it's really interesting to see, knowing that Tigress, who she becomes, and knowing that their relationship will fall apart, it becomes even more perplexing as to why Koryo even became who he became. Because can you explain to me, Snow, a baby girl, how on the fuck of the earth, how are you continuing with your life when everyone who you loved and everyone who loved you hate you? What are you living for? I genuinely don't know. I cannot imagine. I've been thinking about it. I was like, even if you want power, it just doesn't seem that worth it. I genuinely just cannot fathom it. And I guess it's kind of realistic in the sense that I cannot fathom why a lot of people do what they do in real life either. So I think that this is the biggest betrayal in this movie, and we don't actually witness it because by the end of the movie, they're still together and have the money now because he inherited this Sejanus's money, plinth fortune. But I think Tigress was the one who really wanted to see the best in him and really saw the best in him, even when she knew when he was doing bad things, or even when she knew that he was tempted to even do bad things. She still really saw a lot of good in him, and I think that Sejanus just didn't know about a lot of his bad qualities. When it comes to Tigress, I feel like she was genuinely giving him unconditional love. That's why it hurts so much more that she's the one who he's going to also lose in the process of whatever he was doing in between, you know, the 10th and the 74th games. And it just it sucks. Honestly, it does suck absolute ass. I feel for her because it just really sucks when people in your family choose ignorance or hate or whatever else over you. Anyway, Sejanus, my boy Sejanus. Really, really funny to be reading thoughts of Koryo when he's with him. Like, he would say things like, well, you know, we're brothers. And then Sejanus would literally be like, Koryo, whatever, you know, like whatever he was saying. And Koryo literally would think, that bitch just called me Koryo? I'm Coriolanus to you, whore. And it's like, girl, what is happening? Like, I swear to God, that boy does not like, he doesn't make any sense. He doesn't. And also when it comes to like Lucy Gray, I mean, there was like so many moments, for example, him being kind of impressed by her in the when they were in the cage. At the same time, in his brain, he's like, Lucy Gray belongs to Coriolanus, no, whatever the fuck. Like, the boy was, first of all, he was obsessed. Okay, when a bad bitch asks you to piss off Dr. Goal and you do it, he said, I pledge allegiance. He really let the horniness do whatever to him imaginable. And then at the end, he's like, this is why you don't love. And it's like, no, this is why you... I want to fight him so bad. Physically fight and just punch him, maybe. Yeah. Not in the beginning, though. In the beginning, I was like... But at the end... Can you put down the rifle? Like, girl, what the hell is going on? Dr. Gol, this outfit was honestly a massive slate, and it's so disturbing to look at. They really said, let me make it look horrific. They really did it because the thing is, the gloves, the way that they're so wet looking, like vinyl material or something, super glossy. It gives you this like wet blood look, and the coat too, it is haunting. The way that it looks is genuinely crazy. This is actually the reason why I wanted to make this video, is because I saw a picture of this outfit and I was like, holy shit. And this outfit in particular does not remind me of the 74th year of Hunger Games capital, but this one does, mostly because of this whole reference to over-the-top collars and these patterns and colors. It looks like something Effie might wear if it had a bit of a different cut in terms of just being more feminine instead of like a lab coat. It was also really interesting to see the first games. What the hell is it called? Goddamn. The host of the games, the first one. It's really interesting because when we see him first interviewing Lucy Gray when they are in a cage, he doesn't really have that much of a flair to his outfit. It's still a nicely put together outfit, but it feels like he's still newscast person. Here, he feels like a showman. Do you know what I mean? So it feels like there was kind of the progression here in terms of how much glossiness they added on top of his outfit. Then this guy who was played by Peter Dinklage, his name is something Bottom.
Completely goddamn disappointed.
I don't remember. It's the dean of the academy, and he genuinely, like, his outfit reminds me of a priest. That's mostly what I was thinking about, honestly. It's so interesting because he definitely did not help the whole situation, the whole downfall of Snow, but at the same time it's so interesting because he definitely was pissed at his father and definitely thought that they were just like not good people, but by doing all the things that he's done to Koryo, he just kind of pushed him further into becoming more and more like his dad, which is just like really interesting. Now, some of the tributes, right? So we got Coral. She was from District 4. You can definitely tell that she's from District 4. This is a little bit heavy-handed, but it does look beautiful nonetheless. But she has fish embroidered on her jacket. Some people were saying that this is like a barista at your local specialty coffee place look, like she's a little bit too our time looking, which is something I get it. Honestly, that was really funny when people said that. I was like, okay, yeah, no, you know what, you got something there. We also honestly see a lot of hints as to what kind of district someone is coming from based on the embroidery or just like little details on their lapels or collars, just honestly detailing here and there on their clothes. Same with Dill from District 11, and then Reaper is such an interesting character because he does say sorry for like killing you or whatever before the game start, but then he doesn't actually kill anyone. And I think I think that they showed him attacking Lucy Gray in the first bloodbath scene, and I kind of it's strange that they would show that because that was like a whole point that he actually didn't want to kill anybody, and Clementia was actually like pissed at him and she wouldn't send him water or food even though he was given those resources, just because she was like, well, you gotta earn it. I just find it really interesting that he really went against the capital in a very interesting way, where he gave the proper, in quotations, burial that he could afford to provide for these people, and to show exactly who's to blame, kind of, because of the, he took the flag of the capital with the actual logo. I was gonna say logo. Oh well, let's call it a logo. It's the same shit with the logo on it, and he put it on top of the people who died in the arena, who he put into like one single file, I guess, driving it home that this was not a kill by them, by the kids, as much as they were forced to do it. It's also, this logical nonsense. Dr. Goal keeps on being like, this is our nature, to be nasty, to be murderous, whatever, right? But the fact of the matter is, she thinks that somehow these games are like proving her right every day or whatever, and it just doesn't make any sense. I would tear a new one in that bitch if we had a debate. I just know it. She's just so unprepared for anything, like for any question. So bad with, like, probably doesn't know anything about philosophy based on how stupid her arguments are. And the funniest thing is that even though Koryo becomes this tyrant, it's so interesting that he could not for the life of him write what is good about war, or why the games should actually be implemented or whatever. Like, he's struggling to really write it. The only thing he was writing was from himself was about control, and that control is kind of important, I guess. But when it comes to like him actually being a violent prick, he's like really bad at it. That's what's so interesting about it, because once again, he's just like not psycho enough. He's just kind of really selfish. The biggest flaw in the logic of Dr. Goal is the fact that she puts kids in an arena and she tells them to kill each other, and if they don't kill each other, they will force you to do that. They will let out those like poisonous snakes or blow up the entire place, whatever. Like, you don't have a choice whether you're going to die or not. It's just really stupid, because it's like you can't force people to kill each other and then be like, did you see? They killed each other. That means people are bad, right? And it's like, girl, are you dumb or something? Like, You can't be seriously thinking that this is a good argument. I'm not gonna go further into it. He's a very interesting character and I just really like him. Very stoic in a way that he did not bend to the capital's will, even with all the pressure on him. It's really interesting. He also has like those nods to his district, which is District 11, where they are producing this agriculture. Yeah, it's agriculture. What is going on with my accent right now? God damn it. And this is all I have for the outfits, I believe. Ask me about any other outfits because there were a lot of outfits that I like that I did not mention just because of time. I'm already at 55 minutes while I'm filming this. It's fucking insane. Anyway, but I wanted to talk about something that really bothers me and I did not know whether I wanted to put it at the front or at the back of the video. First of all, I've talked about it in my previous video on the Hunger Games, and it's that there is one interview that really kind of took me aback when it comes to Suzanne Collins, and that was interview where she speaks about her inspiration, like where she got the inspiration from. And the first part makes sense, where she's talking about how she was switching between channels.
Found myself going in between reality television programs and footage of the Iraq War. These images sort of began to meld together in my mind in a very unsettling way. We see so many images. Do they all begin to have a sameness to them? When you flip from the game and then you flip to the war and then you're back on something else. When I was a child, my dad fought in Vietnam. My mother tried to shield us from newscasts because we were little. TV would be left on, the news would come on, and I can remember hearing the word Vietnam. I knew he was in Vietnam, and I would look up. Those were very graphic pictures, and I was terrified. Of course I was terrified. My dad was over there, you know. I knew he was in this very dangerous, threatening place where people died. And to this day, when I see footage, war footage, be it Iraq or Afghanistan or whatever, it still has a very powerful effect on me. And I'm sure it does on anyone who has a loved one over there. But I wonder for the people that haven't had it as a personal experience, how that feels. That war, in many ways, we have removed it. People probably feel a lot more attached to the people that are on, say, Survivor or another reality show than they do to, unless, again, they know someone, specifically to soldiers that are anonymous to them because we don't see enough of them, are not following it that carefully.
What I did not understand about this kind of made me question Suzanne and her intentions and her metaphors, let's say that way. There's like a literal cult of military here in the West and in the global North, let's be for real. You can't say shit about anyone who was like a vet or something, right? And second of all, I think it's more concerning that we don't have the connection, or we don't think about, or we don't see them as human when it comes to people, countries that we invade, that we come to. Suzanne, is that what you're like, seriously? That's what we're worried about here? Not feeling for our own soldiers that we send there? But at the same time, there's a lot of nuance in her books. I really hope that she does understand what our position in the world is, because we are the global North, we are the capital. We extract a lot of labor and a lot of resources from the rest of the world, and it is irresponsible of us to act like that is not the truth, especially when it comes to the fact that we are people of the class that did not come up with these rules and did not come up with the way that our world is functioning right now. Second of all, this is another thing that kind of really hammered it in, that I do not get how the creators have spent that much time with this piece of work and did not realize who we are in this equation, in this metaphor. That is the fact that the directors, he like signed very interesting documentation. I'm sure you already heard about it if you're a fan of the franchise. I think that it probably made you feel very uncomfortable, and especially for those of you who study post-colonial history, post-colonial aesthetic, anything that tries to understand how we can move forward while acknowledging whatever the fuck we were doing this entire time, right? You all probably already thought about it, about the Hunger Games and how there's so many fans in the global North of the series, and not a lot of people understand that we are the bad guys. It's kind of crazy. It's a little crazy. I just could not talk about this because I cannot sleep at night, okay? My tax dollars are paying for a lot of terrible shit in the world. The policies that we have here really affect a lot of people around the globe. It just doesn't make any fucking sense to me that the director who was working on 4 out of 5 Hunger Games movies saw real life Hunger Games where we are the assholes, the capital, and went, actually, we kind of have a point. How did you spend that much time with this work and you did not question yourself a single fucking time? I just don't get it. I don't get it. This is something I'm gonna just coin right now. I don't know if it's a thing that has another name or not, so don't come for me. But I call this laughing for different reasons at the same thing phenomenon. It's kind of like, like when you're listening to a joke and it's punching up, but it is a joke that's kind of edgy or dark or whatever, right? But it's punching up. And you're sitting with somebody and you're laughing at the same joke, and then later you realize that that person has completely different views on that issue. And they were laughing at it because they thought that the joke was actually punching down because it was a dark joke, right? So you realize that you thought you had this understanding, you were participating in the same thing with the same outward reaction, thinking that there is an understanding between you, because how on earth would you have the same reaction to it if you were on complete different ends of the issue, right? And this is kind of like, it really makes you feel uncomfortable. You're like, holy shit, we were sitting there laughing together, and this entire time you were laughing at it for this fucked up reason. I thought we had an understanding. I thought we were on the same page, bitch. I thought we knew what the fuck was going on. I thought that we had something going here. And that's how I feel about this whole situation, about the director and about the costuming director. She keeps on fucking saying things like the fact that the Capitol aesthetically, obviously there's some nods to Nazi Germany or whatever, but there's also like, they also in the same breath bring in like socialist aesthetics and stuff like that, while at the same time putting districts in like Americana of 40s and 50s aesthetic, which just kind of makes it like, are we aware? Are we taking this responsibility for what we're doing, or are we not? Do you know what I mean? Like, why are you constantly trying to at least aesthetically associate the world, the rest of the world, with what we assume to be American aesthetics, right? But then the bad stuff, it's kind of like trying to deflect in a very subtle way in terms of aesthetics. And if you are an art director, a costume designer, if you are in the arts and visual arts in general, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The post-colonial aesthetics, the Anthropocene that we've been talking about in terms of the environmental impacts of what we're doing and how it affects visual culture, history, and other things like that. I want us to talk about this because it's bothering me that they're making, this is like, okay, you have made something that has been with us as a generation for a long time. We have grown up with this story. I have been reading the books when I was fucking 12. We've been around for a while with you guys, and we thought that we were laughing at the same thing for the same reason. I thought we had an understanding. I thought we were on the same page. And now I just I doubt it. I really doubt it. And it's making me feel very uncomfortable. I thought it was a very clever commentary. I thought that we were examining what we are and what we will be and how we're going to go about these things, and kind of we're questioning the ideas of nurture versus nature, and especially personal versus collective responsibility when it comes to state violence, right? And somehow it feels like they've got like this basic bitch understanding of not even that, girl. I can't even tell them that the basics are even grasped, because knowing where the Capitol ends up, and even in terms of aesthetics, it's crazy to try and differentiate it from the districts by pulling aesthetics from a system that is supposed to be about needs being met rather than excess. It's just what is going on? I'm just curious, because it seems like there is some kind of lack of either education or, and I don't mean education as in university, I mean like actually just giving a fuck about whatever you're talking about, right? And it's been years. They've been on this for years. They've been working on this for years, and they are not kids. None of them are young enough for this to be okay. All of them are over 50. At this point, you should have more of an understanding of what type of international politics are going on. And like, even if you think that sometimes we're doing the right thing, or sometimes whatever, right? You still would be kind of understanding that at least sometimes we are the capital. At least. I would say that we are, just in general, like the global north, whichever country, but the global north. I don't know. It's just so puzzling. You guys are not young enough for this to be a problem. You are so rich. You've made money on a fake rebellion, millions upon millions of dollars, and it's not like you can't have that money, as much as it just doesn't make any sense that you doing all this, you don't actually see what you're even doing, what you're talking about, what kind of parallels are clear here. It's so clear to the point where the peak literal climax, I would say, of the first Mockingjay movie. Literally Katniss giving this whole speech about how the Capitol bombed a hospital and how if the districts are going to burn, the Capitol is going to burn with them, right? He really filmed this, and then after he said cut, he completely forgot whatever the fuck he was saying. How did this happen? Francis, what the fuck are you thinking? Genuinely, explain that to me because I'm confused. And it's the same thing with, with Jordan Peele. He also signed, and then after that, I think that maybe he kind of reflected or something. Maybe he had some conversations with people who know about this. I don't know what happened, but he signed a different letter afterwards. I just was really surprised because after somebody writes something like Us, this movie that talks about how we value one life more than the other, even though they are the same, they're literally an equivalent of each other, but we treat them differently because one of them is what we consider us and the other is what we consider the other. And then he goes and does that. I was like, what the fuck? At least I'm assuming that he kind of changed his mind. I just hope that considering that he wrote Us and produced it and directed it, whatever the fuck, that he understood what people had an issue with. I just have a question for Francis. Like, Francis, what the fuck are you thinking? Explain that to me, because I do not understand. I don't get how you can film this, work on this movie for years and years and years, come back to it 10 years later, or however the fuck long it's been, and not get the point that we are the Capitol. Our tax money is going there and does it. Do you not get it? Seriously? At your big age? I don't get it. I don't know, you guys. I genuinely do not want my channel, and because my channel is my job. I don't want my job to be politics, but I just can't help myself. I can't sleep well, okay? It's bothering me. Everything in the world is bothering me, that people are like, everything is just luck, right? The fact that I got cancer at 24 was just bad luck, and then the fact that I survived it was also just luck. The fact that I was here in a country that had access to it, and also the fact that the medical system here is available to everybody. You don't have to have money to be allowed to live. Just because you got sick, you did not get sick on purpose. I didn't think there, I didn't sit there thinking, God, I just want my cell to mutate. Anyway, it's hard for me not to say it. I can't. I try to separate things because I want separation in my life, because I'm already, like, if you know me in real life, you know how everything in my life in conversation devolves into how much I cannot stand, how much injustice there is just in general. And it's annoying for everybody around me. And I'm sorry to you guys too, the people who know me in real life. I'm sorry. I am. I know it's annoying, but I can't sleep at night, especially when I am talking about this movie on my channel and I want to make jokes and I want to talk about this piece of media that we've been supporting and participating in, and getting to know these characters and thinking that we were supporting something that actually understood the struggle any person could go through just based on stupid luck of where you were born. And I thought that I don't know. I've been postponing filming this, but then at the same time I was like, I can't just not talk about it. I want to talk about this, and I also want to make my little jokes about choreo being Daffy Duck. Like, I want to keep on doing my job, but I also can't just not have a conscience. So this has been a really long one. I hope you're having a good day, and I hope I did not ruin your mood. And if I did, go back to that place in the video where I made that Daffy Duck compilation with the comments, watch it again, have a little giggle. I know that life still goes on regardless of how we feel, and we need to function regardless of whatever is going on, whatever we're feeling. We need to function, and I know that for that there needs to be a certain level of levity to the situation. So go back, watch it, have a giggle. I will see you next week, and I don't know, have a good day.